So in this video, we're going to look at estimation with line graphs. Now, line graphs are often used to illustrate trends over time. Okay, so they usually put the measure of time, which is your months, your years, your days, whatever, on the horizontal axis. And then the amount is usually on the vertical axis. So the days, years, months down here, and the amount is on the vertical. They put in points to represent the information, and then they connect it with a line. That's how we get a line graph. So this says the line graph shows the percentage of U.S. college students who smoke cigarettes from 1982 to 2020. Find and estimate the percentage of college students who smoke cigarettes in 2010. Okay, so 2010 would be right here. If you follow it up and you look at this dot, that represents our data, you need to figure out the percentage. So if you go this way, that's about halfway between 20% and 16%. So we would estimate that it's 18% of the college students. Let's look at another question. In which of the 4-year periods did the percentage of college students who smoke cigarettes decrease at the greatest rate? So when was it going down the fastest? So let's look at the graph. We're decreasing here, then we start increasing. Now we go down again. All of these are decreasing. It looks like the one that is the fastest is between these two. Okay, so they're adding 4 each time. So this would be 2002 to 2006. That's the years where it decreased at the greatest rate. In which year did 30% of college students smoke cigarettes? Okay, so let's go to our graph. Let's look at our percentages. 30% would be halfway in between, right about here. Then you follow across till you hit the graph. Right here, we hit the graph, and that happens in 1998. So the answer to that would be 1998. Now our last example in this section talks about modeling. So we are going to use a graph to model something and make a prediction. It's very similar to what we've done, but this time we're going to come up with an equation. So the bar graph shows the average cost of tuition and fees for public 4-year colleges. Okay, note the symbol down here. This is telling me, this little squiggly line is telling me that there's a break between 0 and 3,000. They left out some information. Okay, so if you look, here's 2,000, the cost, all the way to 2020, and the cost is up here. So let's see what we need to do. They want us to estimate the yearly increase in tuition and fees. Okay, so we know it increased. It went from 3,349 all the way up to 9,349. It increased $6,000. Okay, what I did is I took 9,349 minus what it started at, 3,349. Okay, it increased $6,000. Over how many years? Well, we ended in 2020, we started in 2000. So you would do 2020 minus 2000, that's over 20 years. $6,000 in 20 years, when you divide that out, comes out to be about $300 a year, okay? Now it says, write a mathematical model to estimate the average cost of tuition and fees at public 4-year colleges for the school year ending X years after 2000. Okay, so let's talk about this. We need an X in our model, and that is going to be the years after 2000, because that's what we're looking at here. The years after 2000, if we're going to use this to estimate, we're going to be looking at the years further out, okay? But our X has to start somewhere. It starts at the beginning of our graph, the year 2000, okay? And our price started at 3,349. So we know we're going to have, and they just used the letter T. T equals 3,349 plus 300, that's what we figured out for how much it increases a year, times X, and X is the years after 2000. Now we can use this equation to predict. So next they want to know, hey, what would we estimate the cost to be in 2030? So let's look at our model. 3,349 plus 300 times X. X is the years after 2000. That would be 30 years after 2000. So my X is 30. And when you multiply that out, you get 9,000, add it to the 3,349, and our answer would be $12,349.